Taking things slow in a relationship is something that many of us claim to want, and few of us are able to follow through with. So, what is taking things slow? Why should or shouldn't we want it? And most importantly, how can we effectively take things slow in a relationship without ruining all the fun? Let's take this one thing at a time. First, what exactly does it mean to take things slow? Taking things slow means being intentional and deliberate about developing a relationship with someone else. It means limiting your time together and how much you stay in contact for a period of time at the early stages of your relationship. It means limiting your intimacy and your investment in another person until you've really got to know them and built something real. So, why is this something to aspire to? If you like this person and they like you, what's the harm in just going for it right away? Well, the truth is that there are many reasons to take things slow, and they all have to do with the problems that come with moving too fast. Moving too fast creates a better chance that you're going to get hurt. This is the most obvious complication of moving too fast in a relationship. The more time and energy you put into someone, the more you invest in them emotionally. The more you invest emotionally, the more you'll be hurt when things don't work out. Of course, this isn't to say that the way to avoid pain is to avoid all romantic entanglements whatsoever. It's just that you should take your time to really get to know someone before you give them power over you like that. It turns out that you can get really invested in another person just by spending a lot of time with them, keeping in constant contact, and escalating intimacy, even if you two never have a serious conversation or get to know one another on a deep level. Moving too fast can cause us to put all our self-worth into a relationship and turn us into people pleasers. Pleasing your partner at all costs will actually change their perception of you, and not in a good way. The more you just give in to their desires at all costs, the less they get to know you and what you really want. Instead of saying, "This is what I want," you're saying, "Whatever you want is what I want." This may feel like a nice sentiment at first glance, but you're actually taking away an opportunity for them to know you and to please you. This creates a one-sided relationship. Observant partners will feel this lack of reciprocity and feel like they're not getting to know the real you. Less observant partners will just end up using you without knowing it. Moving too fast creates resentment. Moving too fast will inevitably cause for you to rapidly make space in your life for this relationship. This will mean neglecting your career, your friends, your hobbies, and yourself. In time, this sets your partner and your relationship up to be the sole source of identity and validation in your life. I think you can see how this is a problem. This puts a ton of pressure on them to make you happy. It's simply not sustainable and is going to cause problems down the road. They'll be unhappy that you put them in this position, and you'll be unhappy because you've lost some of the things that made you who you are. So, aside from the downsides of moving too fast, what are the other benefits of taking things slow? Taking it slow allows you to enmesh your lives in a way that works for you. It's easy to move quickly in a relationship when you found someone you really care about, but you may find that this has negative impacts on your life and the people in it. Maybe you become flaky and unreliable. Maybe your partner meets your friends and family before you truly know them. When you take things slow, you're able to sidestep these problems by finding a happy medium, where you two can become a part of each other's lives without disrupting anything or causing any problems. Taking it slow means figuring out if you really like this person, or if you're just using them for attention. Attention, love, and sex can feel like drugs. This is why moving too quickly gets us into trouble. It's very easy to get hooked on another person simply by spending time with them. Obviously, there are some feelings there, and certainly intrigue and attraction, but is it anything more than that? Are you just too overwhelmed by dopamine to see things clearly? This is not to say you're doing anything malicious, but this is an easy pattern to get lost in, and one that it's hard to see clearly when you're in it, especially if you're moving too fast in the relationship. Beyond that, when you take things slow, you're able to really examine this other person with clear eyes. This means you won't miss red flags and deal breakers the way you may have in the past. Taking it slow means noticing harmful patterns early on. When you move too fast, a relationship can take on momentum and head in a different direction than either of you want. Say you and this person met at a party. They spend the night and you're having so much fun that they stay the whole weekend. It's a great time. So when Friday rolls around, you invite them over. Maybe the same thing happens again, and while it's great, you do wish you had some time to yourself. This can quickly become a pattern, because neither of you wants to upset the other by being honest about what you really want. This is obviously an extreme example, but when you take things slow, you avoid pitfalls like this. And when you see a situation beginning to develop, you'll have more time and space to address it before it dominates the relationship. Taking it slow means finding out if they add anything to your life. I think not enough people ask themselves this question in dating. Does this person add something positive to my life? This is easy to miss out on when you move too fast, because this person quickly becomes your life. When you take your time to get to know them, you'll be able to more clearly see how they're influencing you, what they bring to the table, and how they make you feel. So, we've covered why it's a good idea to take a relationship more slowly. It's all about clarity and intentionality. But before we dive into how to make this happen, I want to quickly say this. Taking it slow doesn't mean being cold or standoffish. It doesn't mean not being romantic or loving. It doesn't mean keeping them at an arm's length forever. Remember that this is just about how you handle the relationship at first. While it may be difficult for some people and may even feel unnatural at times, remember that you're eventually going to grow closer. And in many cases, even closer than you would have if you'd rushed into things. It's just going to happen in a more controlled way that is less disruptive and provides a solid foundation for intimacy. So, now that you've decided that you want to take it slow in your next relationship, or your current one, how can you make this happen without hurting his feelings or scaring him off? Well, the first step is having a conversation with him about it. The sooner the better. I know this isn't sexy or fun for either of you, but it's really an unavoidable part of this process. If you just suddenly start putting up walls that he has no idea about, he's going to take it as you saying, "I don't like you," or "I don't want to be with you anymore," and act accordingly. If you state your intentions right now and explain your reasoning, you have a much better chance at getting the results you want. And you open a dialogue that's going to be important throughout the process of getting to know one another. You need to say these words to him out loud. "I want us to take things slow." Then explain what that means to you and your reasoning. Maybe you don't want to get hurt again. Maybe you're worried about disrupting your life. Maybe you just want to really get to know him before committing to anything serious. Then you need to listen to his side of things. What does he want? What is he worried about? This is standard practice for a discussion like this, but I know that this can be a stressful situation. So don't forget to breathe and take the time to listen and discuss it. Now the question becomes, what does this mean for your relationship? If you two are really early on, often this conversation is enough. He'll get the message and be more intentional with his communication. He'll ask less of you and be less demanding of your time. If that's not working, then it may be time to set some ground rules. Tell him you only want to spend time together X times per week. Tell him you're not ready to sleep together just yet. Clarity is key here, but it's also okay if you're not entirely sure what it is that you want, and you want to figure it out as the relationship develops. The important thing is that you've opened the dialogue. Communication will be vital as this moves forward. Remember that you don't have to have all the answers. The important thing is to talk about it together. Now the time comes to put this into practice. This conversation is all well and good, but if you're going to blow up his phone 20 times a day and take a week-long trip together, you're sending extremely mixed signals. You also need to be willing to set boundaries and stick to them. He may push for more time together than you're comfortable with, and you have to be willing to say no to him in those moments, so that he knows where the line is and doesn't keep crossing it. This is going to be difficult, especially because you two like one another, but stick to the plan and it will all be worth it in the end. Here's what you need to do next. Number 1, stay affectionate and caring. Many people equate taking things slow with being standoffish and cold to their partners. And that's the wrong approach to take. I think this happens worse if we don't have the conversation early on setting boundaries. Instead, we use our demeanor to try to clue him in, and then that just ends up coming across as mean. Instead, be as warm, loving, and caring as you'd like when you two are around each other. Don't be afraid to be complimentary. Don't be afraid to kiss and be touchy-feely if that's the kind of person you are. I'll talk in a minute about sex, but just don't become cold towards him in order to maintain your boundaries. Being communicative is always a better idea. That said, there's a limit to this behavior that you need to stay aware of. Don't gush about your future together if you're trying to take things slow. Don't let this warmth lead you to spend more time together than you're comfortable with. And don't create false intimacy purely for the sake of getting him to stick around. Number 2, focus on time management. The thing about taking things slow is that you're going to have more time on your hands than you would otherwise. I recommend that you do 2 things. First, don't spend your time daydreaming or wishing you two were together. This negates any of the benefits of taking things slow. In fact, it's actually worse than if you were just to spend every waking moment with him. At least then you'd be getting to know the real him, rather than an imaginary version of him. And second, make concrete plans with him for the next time you'll see each other, whenever possible. Being spontaneous is dangerous when you're trying to take things slow. That's how a late night text turns into a weekend in Vegas. Instead, be intentional about your plans. This gives you both something to look forward to and keeps both of you feeling desired. This anticipation is so good for a relationship and will make the time you spend together all the more special. Number 3, manage your anxiety. One of the biggest reasons we rush into relationships is because we're unsure how the other person feels. So, our way of dealing with this ambiguity is to overwhelm each other with our presence. It's basically saying, if we weren't in love, then why would we be spending all this time together? The problem with that is that when the time comes and you can't or don't want to spend all your time together, the question becomes, if we're really in love, why aren't we together right now? I find you can assuage this feeling by focusing on things outside the relationship for a little while. It's easy to worry about the relationship when you're all alone. So get out of the house, see some friends, and you'll realize that this conflict is all happening inside your head. When all else fails, a quick phone call or even a warm text exchange can often hold you over until the next time you see them in person. Number 4, be intentional, not emotional. Emotions are an important part of life, and I'd never tell you to try to bury them or somehow turn them off. But the beauty of taking things slow is it gives you time to feel your emotions, reflect, and act intentionally. You should listen to your emotions, but not be a slave to them. Remember that you should be seeking this connection with another person not to stave off your own feelings of loneliness and your fears of being alone, but in order to create a better life for yourself with someone that you care about and love. This is a subtle distinction, but an important one. Number 5, remember that taking it slow is going to make your relationship better, not worse. One thing I've learned is that time spent apart is vital for romance to survive. This is because we need to foster desire in the relationship. And in order for desire to exist, you need to be apart from this person. I'm thinking of a particular quote when I say this. Love rests on 2 pillars, surrender and autonomy. Our need for togetherness exists alongside our need for separateness. Esther Perel. To me, this means that love isn't about merging into one person. It's about recognizing our separateness and still coming together at the end of the day. Number 6, think before you text. Modern communication makes it really hard to truly take things slow in a relationship. You're able to instantly reach out to your partner and shower them with love and memes at any moment. And the more you do this, the more you wonder, if we talk all day anyway, what's the harm in getting together more? And the more you fall into this trap, the faster your relationship moves and you're no longer taking things slow at all. So, all I'd ask is that you think carefully before you send a message to your partner. It can be difficult to find this balance, and it's going to be an ongoing process. But just be aware of it and try to manage expectations if you notice you're spending all day messaging back and forth. Number 7, let's talk about sex. This video is getting long, but before we wrap things up, I want to cover the topic of sex, because it can be hugely influential in how quickly a relationship moves. I think most people think that taking things slow means not having sex, and denying your partner and yourself of this part of a relationship no matter how much you may want it. I don't see it this way. I think that there are plenty of people who are able to have sex and still take things slow in other aspects of their relationship. But the question is, how sexual should your relationship be? And how driven are you by sex? You also have to ask yourself, how much does sex impact my emotions and my connection to another person? The answer to this is not simple. Many women can separate emotion from sex. Can you have a one-night stand without feeling like you have to connect more deeply with this person, or like you made a mistake? Does having sex with a partner create an instant bond and a rush of powerful emotions? If you struggle to separate emotion and sex, that's totally okay. People are different, and we all feel different things. It's not a failing on your part, but it's something that you have to be aware of if you're trying to take a relationship slow. Because if you know that having sex with someone makes you fall in love with them, then that's going to be a problem early on. There's also the issue of incentive. Sex is a huge incentive for many people in relationships. Not to say that he only wants to sleep with you, but it is something that he wants, as I'm sure it's something that you want. Wanting sex isn't a bad thing. Sex can really bring two people closer together, help clarify feelings, and bond you together in ways that playing checkers simply can't. So basically, just don't take this decision lightly if you're wanting to take things slow in a relationship. There's no right or wrong answer. It depends on you as an individual. Well, that just about does it for this video. How do you feel about taking things slow in a relationship? Has it worked for you? Did you find that it was more trouble than it was worth? Please let me know in the comments below. I read and respond to as many as I possibly can, and I love hearing what you have to say. I'm Emily Baker. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.